Welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast. This is a show where we aim to educate, inspire and entertain through real life stories and interviews from people in the Scottish property community.
As always, thanks for listening and give us a follow on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember to join us at our monthly networking events on the first Wednesday of every month. Tickets are available on our website. So without further ado, we'll just cut straight into this week's podcast.
Welcome back to the Scottish Property Podcast. Ewan Dudding.
Thanks, Stephen. Pleasure to be here and be here again.
I know, mate. I actually love getting guests back on the podcast because you can actually look back and see where people grow and a lot of look at your journey. And I just look back. You were on the first on the podcast in September 2022. I think it was episode 139. Mm-hmm. So it'd be quite nice to look at your journey because I think on the title, I'm sure it was 22 properties by the age of 25, which is no mean feat. It was a fucking huge achievement. So, talk us through the last 18 months almost.
Yeah, so I mean it's been a very busy 18 months. Still been buying property. Lots of little student flats. I think the portfolio's about 50 units right now.
Wow, doubled it again.
Yeah, doubled it again. Yeah, I'm still buying more, got plenty more in legals, and also selling some as well. And then obviously last time we spoke, I was actually working in a financial advisors firm through Edinburgh, employed. But about 18 months ago, I decided to sort of leave that. I had enough kind of money from the property essentially not to have to work a job, but I wanted something else to do, so I ended up training to become a mortgage broker. So I'd already done all my exams, so I did that about 18 months ago, and I've been doing that kind of for the last kind of maybe 14 months or so, and it's been really fast, So not only is the property grown, kind of self-employed now, and also employing my missus full-time, so she does admin full-time as well. So it's been busy 18 months.
It's been you've kind of quickly became that go-to and captured that market for the mortgage broker in Scotland as well, haven't you? Like you've kind of got under the Go Financial Services wing, you're fucking smashing it. Like you're just getting so many business, so many clients. You can see people buying and tagging you and stuff as well. So that's what do you think the success of that is down to?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I mean, people do say that. Obviously, I don't notice it because you're just you and you're just kind of doing the day job realistically, but other people do say that. I think probably my story helps. I think probably my knowledge as well in terms of getting in and out of deals. Because what you find is you can almost kind of...
You're the carbon copy. You're the proof of it. Do you know what I mean? Like I've mentioned this before. Like I love dealing with people in the property business that are doing it. Like I love dealing with a letting agent that's a property investor or a mortgage broker that's a property investor because they actually understand that they're not just trying to sell your service and fucking make their money. They can talk you through it because they actually do it. They put their money where their mouth is, and I'm assuming that's how you've had a huge success so far.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, certainly out of all the property, everything that's involved in property, finding the deals, doing the refurbs, doing the finance, it's probably the finance I had most interest in. Mm-hmm. I mean, finding the deals, you kind of get that sorted. The refurbs, I've got a project manager, so I think it's probably that interest, that knowledge, but also kind of because you're doing it. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I have conversations with clients for 45 minutes, an hour and stuff like that. And you're not just going to do that with Joe Blogs. Yeah. But if somebody's a client, you've built up that relationship, you're doing lots of finance for them. Of course, it's just part of the job. You're going to speak to the client, but then you can not just speak from the mortgage aspect. You can also kind of just speak more kind of strategy and stuff like that in terms of growing the portfolio.
It's one of these problems and solutions parts of the property game, isn't it? Like how do you creatively finance it? How do you get in and out deals quickly? How do you buy it? How do you refinance it? Is that how you find most fascinating about the...
Yeah. I mean, literally on the way here, I had a phone call from a guy down in Newcastle. He's got 100 units. And he couldn't believe how quick that I'd grown, and also one of my other clients, Chris, how quick he'd grown his portfolio. So he's been watching both of us, and then obviously a lot of the time you have a lot of conversations, but you don't have a conversation every day with somebody with 100 units. So first of all, I was like, mate, that's great, like congratulations. But he's like, no, but I've been doing this since 2000, and I've seen how quick you guys are scaling. And then he was obviously asking about kind of day one remortgages and stuff like that.
That's quite an interesting point actually, because something's got 100 units is no, it's a great achievement. But if you've taken 24 years to get that, when you actually break that down over the years, it's not a huge amount of task. The compound effect has happened over time. When you've bought a few a year, that's going to happen. By putting the work in. But you going from for a standing start to 22 by the first episode to now up to 50 units a year, 18 months later, that's fast growth. I think the last time we were speaking as well was on the last episode was the first portfolio doing the Kincardine one.
Yeah.
Aye. How did that went through? Did that?
Yeah, so that I think that just completed just before the podcast actually. Yeah, maybe a few weeks before. But yeah, no, that went actually. to be fair, I know when you said the podcast came out, but maybe the podcast was recorded before it went through. But yeah, no, that certainly went through. We refinanced it 6 months later. We've actually agreed a sale on the same portfolio.
Nice.
In the last few months, so selling up, basically really going 100% into the kind of student market, more or less.
Ah, nice. And where's that, in Stirling?
In Stirling, yes. A lot of them are in Stirling, and just kind of I've sold off a few cheaper buy-to-lets, kind of around about the kind of satellite towns, Kilsyth, Alloa.
So you're thinking of consolidating then and moving your portfolio into a right niched area?
Essentially, yeah. And don't get me wrong, we won't only do students and we won't do students forever, but I think there's a big demand. I think I really know the market, and it just kind of works for me. It's what I prefer, especially with how busy the mortgage business is right now. That's really my main focus. That's what I'm doing 12 hours a day, along with my girlfriend who does all the admin.
So the portfolio is now the back.
It's definitely the back burner, but I feel like I've sussed out a way to keep it growing without being too operational. Because obviously, because I'm local, all the estate agents, and I know other landlords. I'm friends with all the other guys, really. So deals would just come to you.
You've got a tight network and a tight area,
Yeah, exactly. And I had a estate agent phone me the other day. She says, I've got one that's just fell through, 95k, right? And I know stuff in that street's selling for 135 all day long. Also know that nothing in that street's ever sold that's been in working condition. So immediately I'm thinking, then Val's probably 145, So I said straight away, no, I'll do that deal. So you don't even need to view it. And it turns out, obviously that's a corporate estate agent, but it turns out that it's actually managed by another letting agent.
But they still want the same thing. They still want the sale to go through.
Oh, no, 100%. So these guys are great. They still want the sale to go through.
They know that you've got that track record, that credibility, that you're well known in the area. They're going to just come to you like, fuck it, that sale's falling through. We need to kind of protect our client, who we're going to go to. And if you're in and out and completing and collecting keys, they're going to just keep thinking of you all the time.
And there's lots. They've got stuff for clients going through with them and all that. And obviously, I'm doing the finance, so I can send them all the decisions and principles and all that. But in that particular deal, I actually know the letting agent as well. Nice. So he's got me access to kind of see the full thing before even like through the legal process. So it's just about knowing people and the knowledge. But I think doing what I'm doing in Stirling, it kind of. The only time I really spend is on the phone.
Do you think that's key to the success in this, to try and limit the amount of traction, the amount of treading in the treacle, I suppose? And a lot of people struggle with trying to get the deals originally. Like they spend so many time going out and doing viewings and appraising deals and offering and negotiating. If you've now used your network to build up that relationships, they're almost coming to you quite easily.
Yes, I would say so. I would say it's slower to begin with, but I think see, once you just get traction, it's like anything. If you just really focus on something, you will get results. So even in the last year, I've done 4 or 5 all money out deals, and it's not the type of place you get a lot of stock. When you speak to like big trade sourcers in Scotland, when you speak to the auction companies, all of them say they hardly get any stock.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Normally, if they do, it comes to me as well. But
that's interesting, actually, when you think about cities that you don't see a lot of shouting about. Stirling is definitely one of them. The other one that's coming to mind is Perth. Yeah, like you don't see many people jumping about there, whereas you see people, shouting about Edinburgh, shouting about Glasgow and the surrounding areas, shouting about Aberdeen, Dundee, therefore as well. But then not as much your Stirling's, Dunfermline, Perth, these areas.
I think it's just that bit smaller, but if you've got a focus there, so even now, I've got a builder, he's local, he's got 3 or 4 guys, he'll just roll around and do all the projects. A lot of the time he just picks up the keys from the estate agents. I don't even go in, and then I just turn up on valuation day.
So you think that's the key then, getting the friction away from the sourcing, and obviously you've now got the side of it where the friction's away from the renovations. You've got a trusted builder, just go for it.
Yes, I pay him. So I took him on last year. Pay him a day rate, him and his joiners, and I also pay him like maybe 1,500, $2,000 a project.
Right.
So it probably does stuff maybe 30% more than what I can do it for, but it just takes all that away. So I don't even need to think about it. And it's big refurbs as well. Been about maybe 10 1 to 2 bed conversions since we last spoke.
But then you're focusing on the value added stuff that you add the value to your business. You're doing the network. If you're getting a property like the one you just mentioned at a $40,000 discount, you're making the money then by your network, your business acumen. You don't need to be fucking pissing about with the refurb trying to save a few grand. Let him do it. Let him make his money from it. Yeah.
Aye, and I did do that at the start. Don't get me wrong.
You have to
save it. Like every penny was a prisoner. I was doing 15 grand refurbs for $4,000. But I think for me, maybe once I got to 10, 15, 20 units, I thought, do you know what, the money's coming in, that can just pay for it,
You start getting that bit of scale, don't you? Like that bit of scale and economy, where you don't need to penny pinch every single thing. You don't need to
I think that's the best thing as well, because you can actually. I hated doing property because I was painting stuff and I was just running about doing all those daft jobs, and I really didn't enjoy it. But I think it's good now because you can actually enjoy it, because you just see it grow.
Do the best that you want to enjoy.
Yeah, you basically just do the deal and then you get it turned around and then you're on to the next deal, and that's kind of the part I enjoy.
It's interesting because I had one of the last properties I owned in my personal name. The tenant was kicked out a few weeks ago, and I went in to see it. And it was on for sale with Prime Property Auctions. Didn't sell it. Problem tenant, went through the eviction process and they left, but it was probably valued about 120, 125, and I was going to take a bit of washing it, but when the surveyor came out, so yeah, I'd probably put a home report about 175, and I thought, oh, that's quite good. I can get a bit of an uplift for spending 25, 30 grand on it. So when I went in and got the keys with it, I was like, I cannot be fucking bothered doing this refurb, and I was like the exact same as you. Yeah. So detached from actually doing the refurbs and managing the refurbs day to day, that I actually realised I don't enjoy that anymore. I know Sam Dyer will be sitting there listening going, haha, eventually. But when you're managing the assets and doing solving the problems that you actually enjoy, whether it be finding the deals or raising the finance, that's just another aspect of it's almost a distraction almost doing the refurb, isn't it? Yeah. Find the right guys and going, right, get on with it.
100%. I was probably lucky in the sense that you probably understand the refurb process a lot better than me, but it's really not my bag. So I was managing projects. Maybe you're using grade B tradesmen, but really I was a grade B project manager because I don't have nowhere near enough knowledge really to be doing that. But now it's just finding the right people, to be honest, and just keep holding them.
Almost with the projects that you're doing, you're especially your, I suppose, all money out buy to lets or BRRs, you can't afford to spend, as you say, kind of a grade A tradesman. That's the kind of person that your parents would get in and go and fit their kitchen and spend 20 grand or get 20 grand windows, and we can't do that. So they're going to go and quite rightly they're going to see their value and go and work for those people. Whereas we want the guys that, okay, we pay them cheaper, but the quality of workmanship is a lot less, and you deal with the problems. But yeah, I think that's what was putting me off as well, and it probably highlighted the fact you've learned this a lot quicker as well, because you're scaling up quicker from it, realizing that the quicker you get away from the shit that drags you down and drags your time, the better.
100%, yeah. And I think as well, sometimes, the guy I've got right now, I'd say he's phenomenal, but I think he just likes dealing with one person. So basically, he just works for me now, and I think he just likes, because he's not jumping about. He doesn't need to look for work, and then. It's like a family kind of outfit, and I was speaking to his brother because he was doing some work at my own house, and he was saying, "No, do you know what? Jordan's on holiday right now, and he's so relaxed because he knows he's got all the business. He's not like because they all normally go away at Christmas. Yeah, he's not coming back from Christmas thinking, fuck, I need to get business, and it's usually quite quiet for trades in January.
That's a really good point.
They've got all my stuff. I'm saying to him, look, here's a living project on WhatsApp. Can you do this?
He's loving it. He's seen this pipeline.
So I think he just likes, and I'm easy to deal with. I think that's the other key thing. Yeah,
I think people ask me that a lot as well. Like, how do you get a trade to do such and such for such cheap? And it's not the fact that you get them on cheap. It's not, I don't squeeze their prices. They see the value in working with you. And like you say, if you know that you're buying constantly and you're lining up projects and they're not rocking the boat and they're working with you and vice versa, if they see that longevity work, why they want to go and stress themselves out, going at night and going quoting for jobs, pricing them, only getting 10%, 20%, I don't know what their conversion rate is. And then they carry out the workmanship, the owner-occupier snagging it to fucking death because they're pernickety and they're not getting paid for it. And then they're having to fight with the customer to try and get paid. Whereas as investors, we're just going, right, here's the buy-to-let spec that we do. You kind of learn if they know they're just getting that constantly. Yeah. That's easy from them.
And you build up that trust. Yeah. And that just takes away what we we're talking about earlier, the frictional stuff. Because I'm not having any conversations. I'm not going to fucking screw fix. I'm not jumping about. It's just the refurbs are literally done. If there's no floor plan changes, it's done in 2 weeks. If there's a floor plan change, maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
That's quick though. It's
really quick.
That's good. Yeah. Does he do a lot of the trades himself, or does he pull in?
So he's a joiner, and he's got 3 other joiners, and he's got a friend that's an electrician. His cousin and his uncle are painters, and he's got another friend that's a plumber. Yeah. So obviously most of the work is the kind of joinery. He'll bring in the other guys, and it's the same stuff as well.
Does make it easier, doesn't it?
It's been phenomenal. That's really helped me. Because before I was doing like tiny wee refurbs or not doing refurbs and stuff like that, whereas now I can take on bigger projects knowing I can get them turned around in 4 weeks.
That's that. I think that's a really, really key point actually. And like you say, it allows you to then focus on the stuff that you enjoy, which is raising the finance.
100%,
yeah. So see that the acquisitions that you've been doing over the last 18 months, has there been many portfolios or has it been single units?
It's all been single units, Stephen. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it is a little bit. What's the word? It can be a little bit slow.
Yeah.
I mean, last year I bought 19 properties, which to a lot of people might sound very fast, but
I'm sure that's not slow.
You kind of just feel like it feels slow. That's the only thing. Whereas
that's quite an interesting point because it puts it into perspective. If you say what we've added 28 properties in the last 18 months to your portfolio is phenomenal. But if it was 2 portfolio purchases, it's not as impressive. The fact that it's single units is fucking impressive because that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, especially a lot of, and it's just, it is a lot of work,
Yeah.
and you'll know that. But I think it's just having, like I say, having good people around you, project managers, really good solicitor as well. So that definitely helps. But yeah.
So what the planning for the exit of the stock that you don't want in the portfolio and some of the stuff you're saying the selling, is that just getting reinvested back into?
Yeah, so, I mean, I've already agreed a block of flats, so I've kind of jumped the gun there. So I'm on the phone to the buyer every couple of weeks, saying, "Is this going ahead?" He's like, "Aye, fine, aye." So yeah, because I've jumped the gun there. So straight away, that's going straight into a block of flats.
Nice.
So for the block of flats, again, I was planning to do the student stuff again, but I might do like SA or a part hotel. I'll just need to see.
Yeah.
But I think
I'll own the whole block. Is that Stirling as well?
Yeah, in Stirling.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so that Kincardine portfolio, did that then work out good then? Because I remember we were talking about the discount, I think, on the podcast or off air, and there wasn't a huge discount on it, but it was like a almost bulk buy discount, good quality stock that was taken out. Did that work out quite good for Exxon as well?
I think it did, because I think the prices have went up as well since.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause I think because just when I agreed them in February 21, and because they're flats, and especially with the whole cost of living crisis and thing, I think the prices have actually gone up. So it's worked out fine. I think when all said and done, so we've had a refinance in that, so we've got lots of frictional fees, but when all said and done, from the 9 flats, I should probably make about maybe 50 grand, 60 grand net.
And you've had
like
cash
that's net of like double legal, all the stuff to buy and sell. But equally, we're still selling at a 12% discount to the buyer.
Yeah.
You know, and they've got options as well. They'll cash flow every month, but they've also got the options of putting them out to SA as well. So it's a good deal all around, to be honest.
No, that's good. It sounds like a bit of a win-win for the person that's buying it as well. Like they're getting a bit of discount on buying in bulk. No, that sounds good. And I say that because I assuming the cash is not a huge amount that's coming out. Is that more just to free up your business model and consolidate it to Stirling?
Well, I think the cash is profit, so we're still getting all the equity out.
All right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it will actually release a little bit, but again, it'll just consolidate what we're doing, and just reinvest into other stuff realistically, you know. So,
that's good, and I suppose it allows you then to keep focused on the growing the mortgage business as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's really the main focus. Keep growing that, and then the portfolio's just taking care of itself. In terms of the properties and buying a singles, it does mean I can be more selective over what I buy.
Yeah.
So I'm being extremely selective. I've got a little strategy that kind of performs really well, and I kind of see it in the numbers. To be honest, I see what the portfolio's netting, and just when I speak to other people, I know that it's actually kind of doing quite well. You know, so that gives you the choice. And in terms of buying other portfolios, I think it's just about getting the right ones. And don't get me wrong, I've got 5 or 6 guys in my phone book that I phone every 6 months. Yeah. And so far it's a no. Aye, but equally, I know these guys are in their 60s, 70s.
Yeah, they're getting older.
One guy's in his 90s. Yeah. I don't phone him because he's a bit old, but one of my letting agents knows him.
Better keep phoning him, mate. He might be flicking on his way out soon. You need to get that portfolio
secured. I know. I maybe need to get in with the family, but he was saying that my letting agent was saying the guy likes a drink. So he's bought my bottle of whiskey, and then the guy said, well, that's fine. We can meet and all that. So I'm supposed to go into his house and meet with a bottle of whiskey. Nice. But it's not quite happened yet. The guy's he's delayed us a little bit, you know. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now, you know, just really focusing that. And again, there's no due diligence, there's nothing like that. You know all the buildings. Yeah. And a lot of time as well, I'm also trying to buy out blocks.
Yeah.
Just because, again, long term, I'm thinking, well, if I'm going to have, quite a lot of property, it could potentially be a bit of a pain in terms of dealing with other mutual landlords and stuff like that. So I'm really just trying to focus on buying out blocks. Obviously, you can't really necessarily overpay, so you can only buy out certain ones.
How does that affect the lending then with the concentration?
It's a really good point actually, Stephen. You know, because that's obviously, fortunately, as a mortgage broker, I see this quite a lot. And recently did a huge portfolio refinance with a client, and all his properties are really basically concentrated. And he was really struggling with that. You know, he had to kind of be pretty creative with how we kind of got that deal through, because again, the lenders will look at it from a concentricity point of view and think, well, wait a minute, if you have to sell your 100 properties on the street, then that means the values are going to drop X amount.
You're flooding the market,
So luckily, obviously, with the knowledge of the podcast and other people speaking, but also me being a mortgage broker and dealing with clients with larger portfolios than myself, I'm trying to plan ahead. So right now, I'm really just mixing up lenders So that'll be a big thing for me going forward.
Different lenders in the block.
Yeah, so that particular client, he's abroad, so he struggles a little bit with finance.
Yeah.
But right now, although it's maybe easier or quicker to go with some certain lenders, if it's a deal that's going to be turned around in 2 weeks, I'll go there. But see if I'm doing like a 1 to 2 bed conversion or something, I'll just go to a lender that's a bit slower.
Yeah.
So basically,
you've got the bit of time to do
basically take the view that's like if I can maybe split this across 5 or 6 lenders, that'll help. And then obviously, as it does grow, I will need to reduce the debt.
Yeah.
Just being aware of that. Just being aware. Well, you know what, if you're going to keep going along this route, you're probably going to have to knock 10%, 15% off your LTV. Bring it down to maybe 60%,
You must get that quite a lot as a broker though. Like, people especially getting started, I suppose, will see a deal and it'll be the deals that, you almost do it because you're like, oh, fucking that's a great deal. But it must bring up so many red flags when it comes to the lending point of view. Like, is it above commercial? Is it under 30 square meters? Like, what are the or different areas or the directors or the companies abroad? Like, what's the kind of, where would you say, I suppose, giving a bit of value to the listeners, where would you say the parameter is to start with when you're looking for a deal? Like, what's the kind of stuff to avoid or just try and tick these boxes to make sure you
boxes. So I always have a 5-10 minute call with clients. Obviously, don't necessarily always meet clients in person, and clients are busy, so a lot of the time it is over the phone as well. But I always insist on trying to get a 5 or 10 minute call. And normally what I ascertain is, are you a homeowner? Do you own a property in the UK? Do you live in the UK? Are you working in the UK? Can you evidence the fact you're working? So if you're self-employed, that's an SE 302 and tax calculation from the previous year. If you're employed, then that's 3 months pay slips. And I also want to know if you're an existing landlord, and if so, how long you've owned the property for. So those are 3, in terms of the person, those are 3 main criteria. Yeah. Homeowner, big tick box, because then you're not a first-time buyer. Because if you're actually a first-time buyer, first-time landlord in a limited company, it's very, very tough to get lending, Right. There is a few ways around it. There is 1 or 2 lenders that may look at it, but it's very tough to get lending. And then obviously as well, a lot of lenders will have a kind of minimum time you've been a landlord.
Right.
Not always so much now, but certainly for bigger deals and stuff like that, and HMOs and stuff, they want you to own a property. And in terms of the actual property, I always ask, is it above commercial? What type of commercial is it? Is it standard or non-standard construction? Also, is it opposite commercial? So a lot of people don't realise that some lenders won't actually lend if it's opposite commercial. Right. And sometimes you forget. I mean, I've got a property that's I was out at it the other day actually. Lovely little street, great area, and then great views as well. And then someone just said, but it's a shame about the electrical substation across. And I hadn't actually noticed it. It's only when I was up the level, because it's trees. But stuff like that can put off lenders. It's just a case of a surveyor going out and not fancying it,
Yeah, no, that's interesting actually. It's really good value for people starting out, because you know what yourself, like you'll just find somebody that's like, oh, I've got a cracking deal, but if it's out there and it is that much a good deal, somebody more experienced would have jumped on it. So there's a reason, and it's usually a reason that it's usually the reason that people don't see, and it's usually the lender, isn't it? Yeah,
for sure. And it's so niche as well. I mean, even like in Aberdeen, you've got different options, Central Belt, different options, and depending on where you are in the block. So I had a client yesterday with a flat. Again, he basically sent me the link, but there's no pictures of the outside of the building, but it's actually above a pub. I just said to him, like, what level is it on? He's at top floor. So I said, is there 2 flats between? He said, yeah. I said, that'll be fine, because one lender won't lend them directly above a pub, but if it's the top floor or even 1 flat between them, they will.
Right, that's interesting.
Can be quite that niche,
These are the things as well that as a property investor you will know, and then obviously dealing with many clients, you're going to learn more and more. Yeah. But surely that's the stuff that makes you that broker of choice, because you can almost hit these problems head on because you know them.
Yeah.
Like I remember selling a property in the portfolio, I think it was last year, and I remember having the conversation. I had to ask Sam. I says, "What?" I says, "He just said he's getting a mortgage, and the mortgage is with such and such lender. They don't lend in limited companies." And he was like, "Yeah, is he buying a limited company?" Checked, yeah. And the broker just, okay, just put it through. And I'm like, that's going to run it. And 3-4 weeks down the line, we're going to delay this process, and they're going to turn around and say, you can't get lending, or you have to go another lender. So it was like, then you knew the quality of the broker they were using straight away. So that must give you, I suppose it must help you eliminate the time you're wasting by being effective, because you're a property investor first and foremost.
Yeah, and I think the type of business I'm doing is it's quite niche as well, and it's a lot of it, so that obviously helps. And I mean, in terms of any residential mortgages, any insurance, I refer to other people.
Yeah.
And even now, see if it's somebody just buying their first buy to let, they're not really looking to scale, they just want one property in their personal name, I'll typically just refer that as well, Yeah.
So that's interesting actually, because it's a really good point, because I think people think that all mortgage brokers are made equally, but they're not. Like you say, the person you go to for your own house mortgage is completely different for the person that
sure,
specialise in not even buy-to-lets, but commercial buy-to-lets, the ones that buy them in a limited company. That's good. So is that the niche you're going to stick to because of the niche that you're in?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I do a bit of commercial, but it seems to be a lot of the same stuff as well.
Yeah.
So obviously, the more volume I do in that as well, then that will obviously help. So a lot of little retail units, a lot of shops and uppers, which is obviously like kind of semi-commercial investment. But also, I think now a lot of people are doing the kind of part hotel, buying hotels, guest houses model.
Yeah.
You know, so doing a little bit of that, and probably just doing stuff you're interested in. Realistically, you know, probably in the more commercial side, if there's any asset finance, business finance, I've got colleagues that can do that. But equally, at the more kind of regulated residential side, I've got other colleagues that can do that sort of stuff if you're moving house. You know.
Do you know what I found really interesting? I think the listeners will get huge value from it, especially the guys that are starting out, the people that fucking come in and say there's no deals out there. Because I remember seeing your deal that you were nominated for this as well, to award at the Christmas ball.
Yeah.
It was the buy-to-let, all money out, and I think it was in sterling plus profit.
Yeah.
But you get people going, I can't find nothing that I'm leaving 15 or 20 grand in it, and they say that the all money out BRRs is fucking a thing in the past, and then you're saying no, you're still scaling up, and you've got 20 other properties in the last 18 months. But this one, can you talk us maybe through the numbers of that people can actually see that these deals are actually out there?
Yeah. Just to put that in perspective, so I mean, I until recently I lived in Stirling Town Centre, and when I first got involved in property, I didn't drive, and I thought, wait a minute, I need to get a car, otherwise I can't do property, right? Because there's not enough deals here. Whereas in the last year, I've done about 5 all money outs within a 5-minute walk of my house. Do you know what I mean? So even just say to people, like, look at where you live, look out your street, and then just maybe even just look that focus, because there is deals out there. But this specific one, yes, so it was in Stirling Town Centre. It's on King Street, which is probably the best street there, to be honest. So it came up for sale last year, actually. And at the same time, so again, this is where it all comes to local knowledge. I've been sourcing property to a guy from Kuwait, and he actually since moved to the UK, and he's now a mortgage client as well. Like, lovely guy. And he'd end up buying a property in this building. He bought the top floor, which was like a HMO. So I catch up with him maybe every 3 months with his family when he comes up, and I was speaking to him, and he says, I said to him, I'm buying a property in that building, you've got one. And he said, oh yeah. He's like, that's part of the reason why I'm up, actually, because I'm meeting an architect. He said, Ewan, don't worry, we've not got a leak, but we're going to have to fix the roof at some point. But I'm just going through the grant funding process. And you know what that's like? You basically go through the grant funding process. You get like the council's chosen architect, the council's chosen builder, and everything like that, right? He's like saying to me, I know it's a waste of time, but I'm just going to go through the process, see what they say. We can maybe just get our own guys to fix it. And I was like, right, okay, that's fine. And he says, okay, and the architect was out, by the way. He said it's going to be 200 grand to fix the roof, right? So I went and viewed the property that night, straight on the phone to the letting agent the following morning. I said, look, I hope you're going to tell me about this 200 grand roof bill. And the letting agent says, Ewan, we swear to God, we've only just found out about that this morning. Like the client's been really worried, really concerned and all that. I was like, no, well, I mean, it's a roof bill. It's obviously quite expensive. I was like, well, I'm happy to make an offer. And I put in a little word, and happy to take full responsibility for any future repairs and everything like that. Even to the point they quoted my email and put in the title deed, which is quite funny. Like, my solicitor phoned me the day before completion saying, Ewan, what's this? And I'm like, oh, right. It's just what I've said to them by email. I'm like, okay. But anyways, I put an offer in. I knocked out, I think, 20 grand below home report. Right. So I bought it at £55,000, and then I converted it from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom. Yeah. So I spent maybe about 23,000. So I was all in for about, say, 78 plus fees, and then I refinanced at 125. Nice. And I got 950 rent, Wow. And again, this is a first floor flat. I've still not paid for the roof, and it was all money out plus £13,000 cash back.
I'm laughing at when you're telling that story, because I never knew the backstory of that.
Well, even to the station took me for lunch the following week. Yeah. Hope he doesn't listen to this, but if he does, he's a great guy, really is. But he took me for lunch the next week, and I think he took me for lunch to explain to me that, Ewan, we were going to tell you about that roof. Because he was like, I just want to make it absolutely clear that we would have told you about that. We only just found out. Because obviously he's concerned about his reputation. Yeah. But I put it on heavy just as a negotiation tactic.
No, absolutely. No, I'm laughing about it because one of my favourite single buy-to-lets I've ever bought was in Aberdeen, and it was exactly the same fucking scenario. But we didn't find out that soon. It was like 3 days before completion. Did you know about the two? And it's weird. It was like a 200 grand, same again. Council contractors being out there by a factored building. There's 14 flats in the block. 200 grand roof repair. Your share. I can't remember. I think our share was like 13 grand. But it was exactly the same because I knew I was getting I wanted a 2-bed conversion, like a simple 1 to 2-bed conversion. I was uplifting the value a bit. And I just went back and goes, well, our shares fucking 13 grand or 15 grand. Just take that off the purchase price. So then the purchase price come down to, I think it was 52 or 53 grand for it. And I expected 125 back on the end value after converting it. I'm going to spend a wee bit more. But what I did with the roof repair was because they gave you it's like a 100-page document, all the pictures, the drone footage, the huge big document that they've obviously prepared on behalf of the council to get this grant. I just sent it to my roofer in it and down in Dunfermline. He says, look, what would you do with this? He says, mate, I would go up there, I could scaffold that. He says, I would still make an absolute killing off it at 40 grand. So I was thinking, right.
Wow. Yeah.
He's like, mate, that's me doing everything.
And I think it's about knowing the prices as well. Cause I've got a roofer on WhatsApp and I'll just text him addresses.
Check that out.
He's like, new roof 20 grand, new roof 30 grand.
But they're not as bad as people think. But people that don't know this stuff can get the wheels pulled over their eyes. But then from our point of view, we're just going to use that as a negotiation because you don't know the seller's not going to know that. So I just did the exact same. Well, our shares 15 grand, take 15 grand off the asking price. But then when it didn't go as smoothly as yours. So when we refurbed it, the fucking plaster wouldn't dry on the wall. That was like there was pointing, it was leaking down a chimney, like part of the repair. There was the only bit that was going to affect our flat was this back end of the lounge wall. It just wouldn't dry out. It kept fucking just wouldn't dry. I was like, oh no, so had to cut the whole wall out. But then when we cut it out, we realised that the water had been leaking into one of the lintels above the window, but it wasn't a concrete because it was a 120-year-old building. Wooden lintel, rotted it. So propped it up, replaced the concrete lintel, and then while the full thing was stripped, I thought, do you know what can we do? So we end up applying like a tanking solution, like a swimming pool tanking solution to the inside of the wall. So any pointing that was affecting that whole roof repair would just like not come into our flat and run back down the building. So we did that for a couple of years in the portfolio. That roof repair is still not reared its head. Like 2 years later, flat's no leaked, didn't get as good around it as yours though, right enough because it's flipping Aberdeen, but sounds quite similar with the numbers.
Well, that's it, we get 950 rent, and
brilliant.
I think that's it, but it's having that knowledge. I mean, my first ever property I ever bought, there's this big huge report about it. Bought it in 2018 and it says the whole garden needs replaced, and it's 2023, the property's nearly doubled in value and the garden has still not been fixed. We've had £500 in maintenance.
That's it.
It's just like you just see these buildings going for a while.
I use this for a section in the workshop where I talk about like you break down refurb costs, and the only reason I'm breaking down refurb costs and explaining it to people is so you can get a handle on where you can get your suppliers, your materials from, and how you can get trades to do it on the cheap or get things done more cost effective. But the biggest thing I do is so you can actually use this negotiation. So if you can get a full set of windows for your 3-bed ex-council house for 3.5 grand, but Mr. C.R. Smith chaps at door and quotes you 18 grand, people's perception to the public thinks it's going to cost 18-20 grand for windows. So if you go into a property and you're like, oh, it needs windows, you don't tell the owner, it's only going to cost me 3.5 grand. You're just like, it needs new windows.
Yeah, 100%.
Let them think that's 20 grand, or let them know about the roof repair that's 200 grand. Like so you'll use these things in your negotiations when you're entering something. But
and I think that applies to. I mean, that applies to other things as well. So I mean, if the EPC is like an F and stuff like that, I've bought deals EPC's an F, and I've known that shouldn't be an F. So I've just bought it, changed it to a D. And then refinanced and left 10 grand in. Whereas I'm telling the letting agents and the estate agents that's unmortgageable, And it's actually caught me out one time. It was quite funny. So I said to the estate agent, oh, this is unmortgageable, I'm going to have to bridge it. So this is my offer because of it. And it was EPC. And the estate agent's obviously one step ahead of me, so she went and got the surveyor to change the APC. She's like, Ewan, you're going to be delighted, Ewan. I managed to fix your problem, so your lending's not going to be as expensive anymore. I'm like, for fuck's sake.
Hope that's still an estate agent to listen to this podcast.
I still got the deal though. I've still got that one.
It's interesting though, because you find anything you can to negotiate the property at the right price. You're not trying to screw it over, but you've developed the knowledge and the experience to have the upper hand. So why not use it to your advantage?
Yeah, and even stuff that's above like Indian takeaways and stuff like that, we just say it's unmortgageable, It's not technically true, but I know for a fact from experience,
your limit.
If you show that to 9 clients out of 10, they're going to see the interest rate and they're going to run a mile. If their broker or if them could even find a lender that would do that.
That makes sense actually. We're going off on tangents. That's quite good. That's quite good actually. Quite good value on how to negotiation tips, because people will probably take value on that. I remember when I first started as well in property that if the property needed double glazing windows, anything to do with a roof or a boiler, they were my 3 things, or damp, I wouldn't touch. I'd be like, run, because I hadn't dealt with them. And then you get more and more confidence after a few, and then you're like, oh, what? The fucking windows only cost 3 grand. All right, cool. Now I'm factoring that into my cost. Or the damp came out, they sprayed it, they charged me £200, all that, is that it? But these are the things, excuse me, that scare people when you first start out. But the way I look at it, like you say, is if you've got any pain point in a property, use that to your advantage.
100%. Yeah, and I think just your knowledge and confidence grows.
Yeah.
And I think it's so hard. I mean, certainly for me, it was so hard at the start actually growing it and getting things going. It's so frustrating. And you were like offering on stuff. And I think, to be honest, it's probably been too conservative.
Yeah.
Whereas now you've got more experience, you've got more cash flow there, you can take bigger risks. So stuff like if there's damp in the property or anything to do with the refurb, you can take bigger risks. I had one the other day that I think it's going to be all money out. Like I'm 80% sure it's going to be all money out. Worst case, I might leave 10 grand in the deal. And a client said to me, did you see this property? He didn't know I bought it. He said, did you see this property, Ewan? Went for crazy money. There was 10 bids. And I just don't know why all these properties in Stirling are selling for so high. I didn't tell him, but I'd actually bought that one. I was £300 more than the next guy. But again, I knew that I could basically convert that one to a 2-bedroom flat. Whereas because it's a dormer, most other people think you probably couldn't.
Right.
And I know if it's a 2-bedroom flat, I know because mostly landlords they base it on yield. 2-bedroom flats are selling for 20, maybe sometimes 30 grand more than the one bids.
Yeah. So from a year point of view, they wouldn't touch it, but for an all money out buy to let.
Yeah. Whereas if you're at the start, imagine you're buying that deal and then your mate says to you, I can't believe people are offering these crazy money.
Yeah.
You're going to start doubting yourself.
That's interesting, actually, because you do listen to people around you, and it probably goes back to the what we're talking about the type of investors we are. When you scale up quickly, you have to become that real fucking expert in a niche, understand all the process of your business. But the person that's bought 100 properties over a 24-year period, most people would respect their opinion, and if they say, "Holy shit, you see what that's selling for? That's crazy money," and almost take a step back but. Someone like yourself that's so active and so bang, your fingers on the pulse, exactly what it's worth, exactly what can be done with it. Like you're
and you know where the comparables are at. Like if you're buying in a street and a couple have went for toppy values, phone the stage and what did they go for? They tell you, that's going to be your comparable in 3 months' time.
Yeah, how important do you think it is with being a broker and actually understanding your mortgage clients' refinance values? Do you think that's really valuable?
The refinances for clients is a difficult one, because I'm all smug that I've never actually had a down value ever. So it's like, don't get me wrong, you don't want to get carried away, but now I know that my price is nailed on. But then you see clients get down values and stuff like that, and I mean, it's hard. Obviously, I don't know these specific areas, so it's hard for me to say whether they've been
downvalued or not,
or downvalued or not. Essentially, but I do think with the volume I see, I do think there is a lot of down values realistically. Especially in Aberdeen, to be honest, and especially in the northeast as well.
I find that very, very valuable, like especially in the network and stuff. That if if you've got people that are like, that someone's getting something in Aberdeen or an area that there's not much sales comparables, but you're asking what was your refinance valuation, they come back. Even when the ones that are more in like this as well, chat on the Aberdeen stuff, they're coming up with they're almost setting the trend that no one would really see unless you're in that group chat.
100%. It's all real life data.
Or that's they all go down value from 85 to 70.
Yeah.
And you're like, shit, there's okay, one you might go, okay, that's an isolated instance. When 3, 4 or 5 people get the same kind of down values from a 1-bed flat, you're like, shit, there's the value changed. That's the surveyor's now catching on. So now when you're doing your due diligence, you're basing it now on the real valuation, but you can't see the sales comparable. So if you're getting, suppose what I was asking is, if you're getting clients all over the place, you're almost picking up that piece of the puzzle to know that you might not see sales comparable, but I know where the valuations are coming back in based on the clients you're seeing. Yeah,
because I mean, what to do is you can read the valuation report, and what you'll find is that if you're buying similar properties or clients are buying similar properties in areas, you can see what all the comparables there are, and you can see what they're using, but it certainly is. I mean, this week alone, I've had 4 down values in Aberdeen from clients, and they're all chunky down values. I think one is carrying on, but the other 3 were going elsewhere.
Speaking of Ross Allen yesterday, he was saying the same. He got a big down valuation on Crown Street. I did ask him as well, because I'm the same. I've never had any. We've had one down valuation, I think, but I'm the same. Never had any really to go on like any down valuations. But I always think it's the people thing as well. Like, because I asked him yesterday, I says, did you go and meet the surveyor? And he says yes. And I says, oh, that's quite surprising, because usually you just develop a better rapport with them and you know what you're looking for. They almost like, okay, like he's keeping it, he's renting it. They're not as keen, but It's a bit of a trend in Aberdeen at the moment with
For
the
sure,
valuations,
yeah.
but we
Yeah.
always knew that was going to happen when it kind of bottoms out, that there's the real valuations of what it is. It was almost the fake valuations before, where they're trying to prop up the market a little bit. Now it's looking like here's the real.
Yeah, and I see it. I find the central belt of Scotland mostly okay.
Yeah.
I do see it not so bad as Aberdeen, but I do see it in the northeast of England. Because
Right.
obviously a lot of my stuff's down there as well. Because
Yeah.
one of my clients, Chris, he refers me a lot of business, so I do see a lot down in the northeast and northwest of England as well, and I do see down values there. But I mean, I think it comes back to, as you say, who you know, what can you do. I always say to people, like, just see when you get the same surveyors come out, just really try to build that relationship.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be annoying or anything like that. But I mean, I had one client's a footballer. And I said to my other client, look, he never gets a down value in Aberdeen. And he's like, mate, that's why. It's because he's a footballer.
Aye.
I'm like, you wouldn't even think, but probably the surveyors all know him from football and think, oh, I like that guy, you know.
I've never had a down valuation, but I suppose we're talking about the frictions in the business and you know what you're spending your time on. And over the last couple of years, I'd drive the 2 hours up and the 2 hours back down. Even if I had nothing else on that day, I would try and cram in a meeting or a couple of viewing stuff. But I'd always go up for the refinancing when the surveyor came out, always. And the only ones I've not done, or the one I've got downvalued, is when I didn't turn up to go. I go and pick up the keys and line agent and go in. And I just think that personal touch of going in and speaking, like you say, there's only, in any city centre, there's only ever going to be, 2 or 3 surveyors, really? So the chances are you're going to build up a relationship in the area you're operating in very, very quickly. They're going to get familiar with who you are. Like, you're not just a fly by the night coming in, buying a couple of properties and fucking off. You're here to stay. You're here to, build up that relationship. And just have a bit of conversation and make it a bit personal. And I find that
Ask them about themselves. One guy get married, I was asking about his wedding and all that. I don't give a shit, you know.
I mean, I've said this all the time. Like, I don't think property is ever a property business. It's a people business. Like, you're talking about the relationships you've got with the estate agents, the relationships you've got with a builder. We're talking about surveyors. Like, it's all the people that's in your network, your clients. That's what makes this business tick round for me. It's not about the bricks and mortar value. It's to me, it's the people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that makes it all possible.
Okay, the numbers have got to stack up, but
for sure.
Let's get back on your kind of plan then for the next. Where do you see the next 18-month going? Like, short term, 18-month, a few years down the line. Where are you
18
thinking?
months. So I'd probably like I've got part of my properties with my brother. So maybe maybe 30% of the portfolio with him. So I think kind of my own stuff's maybe just shy of 30 units. I would like to get to that. Like to get that to about 100 units, I think.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, I was thinking 75. I thought, what, 75, if I reduced the debt by 10% down to 65, I kind of knew how much money that would be kicking off. It's quite a lot. But then I thought, what, fuck it, I'll just increase it to 100.
Nice.
So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. But again, only really buying in certain streets and really trying to buy out blocks, ideally, yeah.
What's have you ever thought about when's the end point? What's the goal?
Yeah.
I mean, because you're still fucking young, aren't you? What age are you?
26.
26. So if you hit that, it's going to be 100 properties well before you're 30.
Yeah.
Is it going to be another growth? Is it going to keep going past 100, or is it? I
think it will. I don't think I'm ever the type to stop.
Yeah.
I think you have that idea that, when I get to this stage, I'll stop. Do you know what I mean? I've had that at Christmas. I was like, I'll get to Christmas, I'll take a really good break, but I didn't really. You kind of got there, and having that idea of the break was probably enough. But I think for now, keep going. But we're obviously having the discussion beforehand.
Yeah.
And you guys are obviously further ahead and just kind of thinking strategy and the issues that comes with a larger portfolio and whether it is worth scaling or going to different kind of strategies or business models.
It's funny you said that, because I had the conversation with Stevie like a few weeks ago. It's fucking hell, you sell the dream on the workshop that you can get 20 properties and that's your financial freedom type thing, and it is, you can get there. But and then and he's like, but then you can retire and you can quit. Why the fuck are you still working? And I'm like, the type of person that gets 20 properties in 18 months like you, or you've not got that desire to quit and do nothing. You've got that desire to keep on going because you're never going to switch off. You love it. You're hungry for more. But it always interests me when I'm speaking to guys as well, like yourself, like that's hungry for it, is where's that point where it's like, do you know what, that's enough, I'm going to.
It's hard to say, because I mean, I'm only 26, so clearly when you're 36 or 46, you're going to be totally different, think different things. Life's going to happen to you, life's going to change, but I don't know, I've just got that wee thing in my gut that I'll probably just keep cracking on. Yeah.
Somebody asked me at the Scottish Property Podcast event in Aberdeen a few months ago, and they were like, what's the exit plan and when's enough type thing, and it kind of hit me, and I was like, because we were chatting before we came on air that you don't ever until you come and reflect on this podcast how well you've done. I can see you smiling and going, I'm like, oh fucking hell, surprises you. And I'm the same as you. I never ever look back to where the last few years has came or what you've done it. You always just kind of full steam ahead. You keep solving a problem every day, and you show up every day. You don't think about it. But when he asked me that question, I thought, fucking, that's a good point. Like, what is the exit and what's the end? And if that's where I'm further ahead with you in age, that if I've got Maya, not having any more kids, it's like, they don't really need any more assets, because it's mostly about the legacy. Okay, the financial freedom's there at that certain point. You know you're never going to, you don't need to work again. Yep. You choose to grow your business, but it's like, what's that end point? Like, and it's made me think about it a lot recently, actually, of what's next.
For sure, and I think it's good to kind of analyse, because obviously day to day you're just doing the do, you're solving issues, and I mean certainly for the brokering business, I've got certain completions that need to go through, auction purchases, you're solving problems, and then obviously the property business, you're just trying to buy stock. But I think long term for me, I think I'd like to build something quite big that outlasts me. Yeah. You know, so it's not necessarily, like, do I really want to pass my young daughter to, 50 flats? It's maybe something that's a lot bigger, but you've maybe got a management structure there, and then you can either, I don't know what would happen, but maybe certain portion go to charity or something like that, you know. But I mean, I look at guys that have built big companies, and I don't see any reason why you couldn't do this in like kind of buy-to-let portfolio. I see guys that built big companies, and the reality is they die, and then the company just carries on. You know, that's
an interesting point. Actually, I've thought about that a lot recently. Is like, when do you start giving back? Like, at what point do you go about that, or I'm going to go portion of the profits or the portfolio to charity? That's quite interesting.
Yeah, so that's kind of the way I see it. Yeah. So we'll see what happens, Stephen. I'll come back in 18 months.
We'll come back in 18 months. Come back in a few years' time. We'll discuss this again, because you're not married or kids yet. You've been with your partner for a few years though.
Yeah. So I've been with my partner for 4 years or 5 years. So I'm 26, she's 24.
This is the one you charge for fucking sharing the rent.
People still bringing it up. That's obviously kind of travelled. But
if you don't know what we're talking about, go back and listen to episode 139. Ewan actually charged his girlfriend to fucking share a bed with him. I think in a room.
I know, it was great. £200 for half a bed. I have clients that now phone me up and say, "Oh, by the way, Ewan, like, I listened to the podcast, but you're a legend and all that sort of stuff." Or they might slag me as well. I was getting slagged the other day, and I was like to them, "But we've just bought a cottage, like, she's in a lovely cottage now, it's all good." Like, she's quadrupled her net worth in the cottage, and then one of the other boys was like, but she's also quadrupled her debt. And I was like, good point.
It's all about the equity stake. Exactly, I love it, mate. No, I appreciate you taking the time to come on and chat to us. Where's the best place that people can reach out to you and follow your journey, I suppose? Or
so I'm probably mostly active on Instagram. But obviously anyone who's interested in the kind of mortgage services, then I have got a website. So if you just Google Ewan Dudding, it should come up. You can fill in your details. But failing that, just get me on Instagram, and kind of catch up with you there.
Nice, mate. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate it.